Well, thank you very much for sticking with us. It's Breakfast Central on a Wednesday with Olisa and Oluchi this morning. We're going straight to big stories in Nigeria, where the country is currently experiencing the saddest days in recent memory. Now, all in one day, from Anambra State to Niger, to Kaduna State, Yobe, and even Imo State, critical insecurity issues were recorded and reported.
Now, hour after hour, breaking news after breaking news, Nigerians saw numerous unacceptable reports of violence, kidnapping, terrorism, and the systematic breakdown of law and order in many parts of the country, and this should not be so.
Now, during a virtual meeting with the U.S. Secretary of State, Mr. Anthony Blinken, President Muhammadu Buhari stressed the need for the support of the United States and other important and strategic partners in combating the security challenges facing the country.
Now, apart from seeking the assistance of the U.S., President Buhari also called on the U.S. to consider relocating U.S. African Command from Germany to Africa, which makes it to near the theater of operation.
Now, on that note, joining us to really break down all of this regarding especially the meeting between Anthony Blinken and the U.S. Nigeria presidency, we're joined by Chukwuma Okenwa, who is the Executive Director, Lead Network Africa. He returns to breakfast this morning. Chukwuma Okenwa, good to have you back on the program. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, pleasure.
Good morning, Mr. Chukwuma. All right, going straight to it, Mr. Chukwuma. I mean, you've read it. I'm sure you've also heard reports of this criminality going on in the country. If it's not kidnapping, it's killings. How really did we get to this point?
Honestly, I would say that in Nigeria, we have more of insincerity than insecurity. And you can actually appreciate that from the body language of the leaders. The question is, must we cry out to the president that the country is moving down the drains before he will do the needful as the president? I mean, it's not gone anywhere. The basic purpose of governance is for the security and welfare of the people. So any government that has failed on this primary and basic principle of governance, which is security and welfare, is as good as the government is not in place. And that is exactly what we've seen. So this ordinarily should be the foundation of government, should be the basic concern of government. And when we are not seeing that as the priority of the government, then it brings the question whether the government is actually complicit with what is happening. And I can tell you that the security situation in Nigeria is more of insincerity. When you look at the body language of the leaders, apart from what they are saying, right, what they are saying, we should be able to read from their body languages what they are not saying. They have incredible intelligence beyond the military that there are certain forms of compromises. We keep seeing, like in a country like Nigeria, how on earth, where has it ever happened before that maybe you could have the Air Force bombing the army? And then in the pretext that maybe it will be another way.
All right, we're yet to confirm all that in terms of the allegations, but I really want to bring you on this one, Chukwuma. The Senator Smatadeyemi, during the plenary session, spoke passionately about the insecurity in the country. Let's hear from him. At least he talked about body language. Let's see this.
We have a chapter. We cannot keep quiet any longer. It has gotten to a point that we cannot sleep with our two eyes closed. We are not free. Our children are not free. The president must rise to the occasion. There's no nation that is so powerful that doesn't need support of other nations. Individuals cannot say you will leave the world without any other person with you. So we must rise. The situation is our security system has collapsed. It has failed. And because it has failed, we need to look for foreign support. It costs Nigeria nothing. Forget the ego, forget the superiority.
All right, Chukwuma Okenwa, that was Senator Smatadeyemi, passionately speaking. In terms of body language that he talked about, this was in the Senate. And clearly he's saying that the security apparatus has collapsed and looking for perhaps foreign intervention. What do you make of, his comments?
Well, it's quite impressive. And let me say something, like when I analyze security issues, right? Let me say at this point, I'm a member, I'm a fellow of the leadership in criminal intelligence and security management of the Defense Intelligence Agency in this country. I've been in fora. I am an insider and not an outsider. And I know that as much as we are saying, oh, insecurity and all the rest of it, there is just something we need to begin to look at critically beyond the surface. But then there is something, this man, you could see him getting very emotional. But the question is, do you see the people he's addressing responding in like manner? I mean, it has come to a point where we don't just need one senator weeping. I mean, all should be concerned. Was he still not in that same Senate? We had a fellow senator asking, are you not a member of the opposition? You understand? Are you not a sheep in wolf's clothing? I mean, when we are talking about the security of lives, there is just something Nigerians need to begin to look at. We must hold our leaders accountable because, I mean, who does that? That when your house is burning, which father will do that when your house is burning, you are just calm?
I'm talking about.
Another thing again that I must warn, yes, the government has spoken about calling US and all the rest. The question is, has it really gotten to that level?
At this point in time,
okay, I'll let Oluchi go on.
You know, at this point in time, a lot of people are still asking a very big question. And the question is like, despite all that's happening, despite the mayhem that is going on in the country, it seems like the government is silent. Now, between you and I and everybody who is watching, why has the president not addressed the nation, at least to reassure them of their commitment to protect their interests, Mr. Chukwuma?
The body language of Mr. President confirms that we cannot claim he is not unaware of what is happening, because let me give instances of two cases. Like recently in Benue, just yesterday, you know, the mayhem that was wrought on the people. It was very clear. They confirmed that what those guys were speaking was Fulbe. They were speaking Fulani, and they were so armed, well armed, and this has happened. We've also had a case where there was an attempt on his life, and they came out publicly and claimed the attack that he was only by an inch of luck that he escaped, that he would have been lynched. And then you now have the Nigerian police still coming up to say, well, the perpetrators will be brought to book. They are going to find out who, you know, launch out a full-scale investigation. What other investigation do you want to launch out when the perpetrator has already made it very easy by telling you, by confirming to you that we are responsible for this particular attack? I mean, there is just something we are not telling ourselves in this particular country.
All right, Chukwuma, I need to bring on this one. You talked about, you asked the question whether it has really gotten to that. Now, part of the request from that meeting between Anthony Blinken and the Buhari government, is moving relocation of the U.S. Africa Command, which is in Stuttgart, Germany, down to the Africa to be part of the operations on the ground. Do you perhaps see this as a solution to one of the challenges we're facing in this part of Africa, particularly for Nigeria?
Well, that would be a commendable step, but let me warn. When you talk about security issues, there is nothing as strong in security as enemies within, right? This wouldn't be the first time that maybe U.S. would be invited to help us address the security challenges. But you know why they withdrew the last time? They withdrew the last time because it was obvious from the operations they actually came to help us crush the insurgents. But they discovered that the government was complicit in all of the whole situation, and they withdrew. Now, what has actually changed between then and now? And one of the things I do not enjoy all over the time, because ordinarily all these internal security issues ought to be within the capacity of the police to address. Don't forget, this is internal security issues.
Yeah, okay.
Now, the police, it was undermined, and we move to the military. And the almighty military is also not seen as strong enough to address internal issues. Do we really still have a nation when we cannot even address our own internal security issues? It really calls for concern.
So many questions to ask now.
Yes.
This brings me to the last question, because we're pressed for time and we hope we can answer as quickly as possible. Now, the House of Representatives, as we speak, they called for a state of emergency in the country and an audit of the Army's expenditure. Do you share any form of sentiment with this particular situation that we're in?
Well, I will share some sentiment with the letter, but not with the former. As far as auditing the accounts, you understand, the budget, I mean, there's massive budget like over the years on security. And one very thing that is very interesting to note is that, yes, in terms of appropriation, Some others, budgetary allocation may not get all of the funding.
Okay.
But not for defense. So if all of the investment has been made in defense, and we can't see the benefit, we can't see the essence, then what then are we doing as a country? But as to declare a state of emergency in all of the countries, we must tell ourselves the truth. Yes, we know that it's happening there, but of course, if we declare a state of emergency, are we now trying to say that the whole of the country is burning on at what once? What exactly would that be achieving if, like, those that visibly are enemies of the country are allowed to, you are tackling insurgency? How many persons has been brought to book on account of insurgency? How many have been arrested and brought to book on account? All we see is a situation where people are forgiven.
Okenwa, thank you so much once again for coming on Breakfast Central. Executive Director, Lead Network Africa, for your time on Breakfast. Surely we'd like to have you once again on the matter. Thank you so much once again.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.